new race winners this weekend. We had Leo Corfield in race number 1 yesterday and William Lathrop in race number 2 today. Can it be Matthew Bolsover? Can it be Jamie King? Can it be Harvey Claridge? We're going to find out as the Pit Big 140 Moto Team race is about to get underway. Green flag is up and away we go. Jamie King a bit of a slow start, wheelied off the line, and we have Matthew Bolsover into first spot there. So he's been getting a great start in the previous 2 races. Harvey Claridge making his way into third, just behind Jamie King, and Ben Bailey in fourth place. No, it's not Ben Bailey, and he's dropped back. Ben Bailey down to about 6th spot as they head round the final lap. Harvey Claridge makes a move up the inside of Jamie King into turn 2. Can he hold it? Possibly round the outside. Jamie King early in the brakes. Harvey Claridge nearly tags the back of Matthew Bolsover through turn number 5 into 6th to go. Still Bolsover from Claridge, from Jamie King into the final turn, and we've had a bit of an incident at the back. Turn number 5, a couple of riders off, one running towards a bike, so they're up and okay at the moment as we're back with the leaders. I start lap number 2. Harvey Claridge up the inside into turn 2, not quite, and it's Richard Holmes Williams, I believe, up the inside of Jamie King into third place there, and in actual fact it was William Lathrop into third spot, pushing Jamie King out of the way.
Yeah, Ben Bailey went up to 4th, and we've got to change the lead. Claridge down the inside of Bolsover, executed it very well, but he's now going to try and hang on through turn 5. Runs a little bit deep on the brakes, and this could be costly for Claridge. It is very, very costly. He's dropped down to 4th place with a gap to the top 3, so Claridge will not be happy with himself that he allowed that to happen. Bolsover still leads the way then. 2nd place is going to be Lathrop as they head down towards turn number 2. Ben Bailey, quickest on track, is there in 3rd place. Then it is Claridge, then it is King, then it is a gap back to Holmes Williams and Leo Corfield. Down towards turn 4 we go, and looking to the inside for 3rd place is Claridge, and a change of lead is that Bolsover defending, so Lathrop looking to the outside. Claridge is up to 3rd place past Ben Bailey, and King 6th there in 5th.
Yeah, with this race going on at front, give a shout out to the Moto Team riders. Will Howarth leads Simon Clowes in 11th and 12th. That is going to be raging throughout the entire race. As Bolsover runs on the curb coming into the final corner, can Lathrop get a run into turn 2, round the outside of turn 1, up the outside of turn 2, late on the brakes, not quite, has to set it up over the curbs. Harvey Claridge into 3rd spot, still holding off Ben Bailey as they go through the turn 3 chicane down the back straight. Bolsover looks behind him. Will he see Lathrop up the inside in turn 4? Yes, he will. Late on the brakes from Lathrop. Harvey Claridge tries to make his way through the field as well. Will we go round the outside of Bolsover into turn number 5? Not quite. He's pushed wide by Bolsover. But race number 2, winner William Lathrop into first position. Can he start to build a gap?
Well, 5 have now become 7 for the lead, because we've had Richard Holmes Williams, who set the fastest lap, and Leo Corfield joined the party in this battle for the lead, which is now being led by William Lathrop, courtesy of a move down at turn 4 last time around. But it is very, very close still. Bolsover, Bailey, Claridge, King, Holmes Williams and Corfield. They're all there, and Claridge is going to dive down the inside of Ben Bailey. Has to just back out of it at the last minute. That was an attempted move for 3rd that didn't quite work out. It hasn't affected Ben Bailey at all, because he is right on the rear wheel there of Matthew Bolsover as they come through turn 6. A couple of back markers ahead, but staying out of the way, so good riding from the pair of them as we now come down towards the start-finish line. Bolsover looks like he's lining up a move on Lathrop, and down the inside he goes, Bolsover. Oh, he's going to have to sit up on the apex there. Ben Bailey had to do likewise, and William Lathrop, good riding from him. He's now got a bit of a gap in the lead.
Yeah, Harvey Claridge is lining up Ben Bailey for 3rd spot. Up there, yes, he's done it. Oh, he chops his nose off. Ben Bailey nearly got swiped by Harvey Claridge as he went into turn number 4. But that's Claridge up to 3rd spot once again. Can he make a move on Bolsover and make it stick this time round and chase after Lathrop? Harvey Claridge is looking fantastic at the moment, but we've also got Ben Bailey. Jamie King is holding station at the moment, just ahead of Holmes Williams and yesterday's race winner Corfield, as we've got a change of lead as Bolsover back up to the lead around turn 2. Yes, what a move by Bolsover. Round the outside turn 1, up the outside of 2, and he's back ahead of Lathrop into the next lap. So can Claridge make a move on Lathrop into turn 4? Not quite doing it yet. There's more back markers coming up. Can they get through them without splitting up the field? It looks like the top 4 might be starting to build a bit of a gap at the front of the field.
Yeah, I agree with you there, ever so slightly, isn't it? As Claridge is side by side with Ben Bailey there coming into the final corner. Jamie King is trying to go with the top four here, but certainly dropping back is Holmes Williams and Leo Caulfield as they come through turn one in towards turn number two. Lathrop just taking a tighter line through turn number two than the likes of Matthew Bolsover, who set a quickest lap last time round, 39.723 for Bolsover. Down towards turn number four. I think that's probably the first lap we've not seen any attempted moves down there, and I think we can see here Lathrop just having to go around the outside of a back marker. Likewise is Claridge and Bailey. So Claridge and Bailey have dropped back now from Bolsover and Lathrop, who come round the final corner and down the start-finish straight. Bolsover looking over his shoulder. Lathrop looks to the outside at turn one. Through turn one we go, and Lathrop dives down the inside at two, and Lathrop is through. Fantastic block pass there.
Just pulled him through as well into second spot. Not sure what Bolsover was doing, looking over his shoulder and sticking his leg out to allow Bolsover through, but as Claridge go for the lead, he is. There's back markers on the way. Claridge up there side a little bit wide, and Lathrop back into the lead. So opportunistic move there by Claridge.
Yeah, Claridge there tried the move for the lead, but hasn't quite worked out. Well, we've got our leaders just heading out of the final corner. This will see them complete lap number 9 with now 6 to go. Let's bring you the top 10 then, unless there's any changes. Before I can get through it, it's Lathrop, Claridge, Bailey, Bolsover. Then we have the likes of King, Holmes Williams, Caulfield, Cameron Caulfield just behind, so Leo heading that one. Then it's Gaines and Petit.
Yeah, Ben Bailey going for second up there instead of Claridge. Claridge had an awful run onto the back straight through the turn 3 chicane, but held it round the outside. He's still behind Lathrop. It looks like Bolsover's fourth. Jamie King is still fifth. Holmes Williams and Caulfield have dropped back. I'm not sure if they've been held up by the back marker somewhere around the lap. But Bailey up their side into turn number 7, up there side of Claridge. Opportunistic move, greatly done by Ben Bailey. And will he make it around their side? Will Harvey Claridge make it upside? Back markers everywhere. What is going on? Where is everyone? I think it's Lathrop still in the lead of the race. Ben Bailey still in second. Cloud still in third. So as they make their way through the back markers, they're just barging them out of the way there. The back markers must be terrified with what's going on, as Claridge nearly gets tagged by the back marker into turn number 4.
Yeah, if that was me, I'd have 3 of the leaders coming either side of me. I'd be terrified. I think I agree with you there, but we've actually had our
Jamie King off the side of the circuit.
It is.
Yeah,
yes.
turn number 4.
Great
Turn number 4. That is Jamie King out of 5th spot.
Oh, that's a real shame for Jamie King. So 5 become 4 out front then as we go through turn number 1. Is this Ben Bailey lining up a move? It isn't, but behind that's Matthew Bolsover lining up a move on Claridge. It didn't work out. So the top 4 remain in the same order they started lap 12 in. As we come down now towards the hairpin once more, we've got Ben Bailey. And Ben Bailey making contact with William Lathrop. Both riders down. So that's going to leave Bolsover in the lead there. I'm not too sure what happened to Claridge, but may have had to sit up in all of that because he's been delayed. But Ben Bailey, in attempting to go past Lathrop, has seen the pair of them taken out. Bikes are on the floor, riders are already over the side of the track, and the red flags come out.
That was such a shame for both riders. Ben Bailey looked up the inside of Lathrop. Lathrop didn't see him coming, so he tagged the back. Both riders went down heavily. Harvey Claridge had to avoid the incident, so ran off the track as well. So red flags have come out. Hopefully, fingers crossed that Ben Bailey is okay.
Yeah, I think that could be the end of the race. We only had 3 laps to go, so I have a feeling that could be the race completed. What a shame, because that was a fantastic battle for the lead. Bolsover has actually gone over to check if everything is okay with his fellow competitors. Well, Ben Bailey, he was just trying a move for the lead. It didn't quite work out, and unfortunately it's ended in a bit of an incident. But, well, that is how intense the lead battle was, and it's a real shame that it's ended that way, but a fantastic race nevertheless. Even if it did end like this, it was still a fantastic race.
It absolutely was there, Chris, and there's 30 riders on track. I'm actually surprised that they managed to get through most of it as cleanly as they did, for as long as they did. But hard riding, it was clean riding. Unfortunately, it was just a misjudgment from one of the riders, so fingers crossed. And the great thing is, we're seeing a lot of the riders stopping over the edge of the track to check up on the fellow riders, so it's not just It's because it's a family community here at the Cool FAB-Racing. So great racing on circuit. Harvey Claridge was making a lot of lunges on the brakes up towards turn number 4. Matthew Bolsover once again was looking very good towards the closing stages. So Harvey Claridge, a shame they couldn't get into the lead of the race because it was very hot in the brakes. Made some great passes, and of course the back markers, the leaders trying to find a way past the back markers with a couple of laps to go. It looked like it was chaos out there.
Yeah, well, you can just see from the highlights that were being shown how intense it was, how close it was, how many moves that were made. It was very hard to keep up with, but there you can see that was when the back markers were surrounded by the lead train, and that is all the overtakes that we saw throughout the race. Lots of lunges, lots of overtaking. A lead group that stayed at around 7 for most of the race dropped to 5 riders and then to 4, and despite the fact that we did lose some riders from the lead group, it didn't stop the racing being as intense as it was. And there we see the leader who went down with Ben Bailey and William Lathrop in that attempt for the lead from Bailey. I saw himself and Lathrop go down, and there is Ben Bailey up and walking away from the incident, which is good to see. So at least no serious injuries appeared to have been made to Ben Bailey. But well, a fantastic race. We'll wait to just get a confirmation on race results for you, but that is going to be the end of this race for Pit Bike 140 and Moto Team race number 3. We only had 3 laps to go, so all the riders have been sent back to pit lane, and that will be the end of the race. But there was the incident, Ben Bailey going down on the deck, and we saw Claridge getting held up from that, and Lathrop, but thankfully he's okay. He's walking away, he's walking back to where he is set up around the circuit. That's the most important thing out of all of this, that all riders are okay and are being assisted safely back to the paddock.
Yeah, just want to once again give a big shout out to the marshals and of course the medical team that are doing a great job at all Cool Fab meetings, and of course here at round number 3, Clay, Pigeon. This is Cool Fab Racing, the road to MotoGP, the official partners here, 2 British superbikes. And if you want to get in touch with us today, you can get in touch on Facebook, Cool Fab Racing and Motorsport Radio, Twitter at Cool Fab Racing and at Motorsport Radio. And if you'd like to hear some of our podcasts, so from the Superbike Show, which we do during the week, and of course Monday Motorsport, along with some of the racing action today, if you've missed it today, then you can get onto Spotify, Apple or Google and listen to the podcasts there again. So we're not done with the racing action just yet. So the Pit Bike 140s and the Moto teams are done for the day. William Lathrop takes a win ahead of Harvey Claridge and Matthew Bolsover, Jamie King in 4th and Richard Holmes-Williams in 5th spot. We will have the Junior LC40 Elites out next, followed by the Senior Mini Motos race number 3, the Mini GP50s ahead of the Extreme 200s, and the sidecars will be rounding out the day's action. Their race number 3 will be coming up at 4:40 p.m. So we've got lots more action to bring you, so make sure you don't leave us just yet. And as we look out the commentary box window, there was sun shining, but it looks like clouds are coming from all directions. There's spots of rain possibly. As we look at the commentary box window, there's definitely spots of rain on our window, but nothing that will affect the grip on track.
Well, you say that for now. For now. I think we should say that. Let's hope. We've only got, let's see, we've got 5 more races, so let's hope that the weather is kind to us and we can hang on for the next 5 races with the dry weather, which we've pretty much had throughout the whole weekend, bar I think a couple of the qualifying sessions which were slightly affected. But next up is going to be race number 3 for Junior LC40 Elite. It'll be followed by Senior Mini Motos, Mini GP50, Extreme 200, and then the sidecars will round us off. Oh, there you can see one of our camera crew, by the way. They've been hard at work bringing you the coverage all weekend. A big shout out to them, to Jakes and Dan on the cameras for you today. And we've got Lester behind the scenes as well, but no one wants to thank him. It's only Lester. Who cares?
Yeah, well, he's the one that sorts it all out, so we'll be out of a job if we start to criticise him too much.
But yeah, he's the man behind Motorsport Media, and we are bringing you coverage for the first time.
So Chris, you have been all over the place at the moment, doing a lot of commentary. You've been overdoing WEC at the moment. So what is WEC? Because that's what people refer to it as. But just tell us about how it compares to Cool FAB-Racing.
Well, yeah, there's 4 wheels instead of 2, so that's kind of the main difference. But yeah, WEC, the World Endurance Championship, which of course the likes of Fernando Alonso are racing in. Yeah, that was a fantastic opportunity to be able to go and do that with the Eurosport crew. Hopefully, more of them come along.
So basically I'm standing next to a superstar commentator, is that what it is?
I don't know about that. Yeah, I got to do the World Endurance Formula. Got to do a couple of rounds of Formula E as well, which was great. But got to say, it's fantastic to be here commentating on the next superstar riders, of course. One person I do want to give a shout out to, because it's one of our former riders who is racing today who was racing yesterday, over at Le Mans, was Max Cook, his brother James Cook. Of course, we've already seen racing today, but Max has come through this series and now races. Is the only British rider to race in the CV Moto3 World Junior Championship. Also races in the Red Bull Rookies as well. So flying the flag for our country in both those championships. Had a brilliant start to his Red Bull Rookie season at Jerez with a 11th place despite a ride through penalty, and then an 8th after that, was 5th going into the final corner. So fantastic performance from him there. And today, yesterday he finished 18th at Le Mans in round 3 of the Moto3 World Junior Championship, despite dropping all the way back to 35th mid-race. So that's where these riders are going. British Talent Cup, Red Bull Rookies, potentially the CV Championships as well. We've got the likes of the European Talent Cup. So that's where these riders are going, and obviously even higher than that. We're going to see some of these riders definitely in the likes of British Superbikes, World Superbikes, and MotoGP as well. We are officially on the road to MotoGP. We are the official partner series of the British Superbikes as well, which I'm going to watch.
Yeah, so it's
looking forward to that at Donington Park. It's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be fantastic indeed. And as you said, take your sentiments that some of these riders will be future stars of British Superbikes. Some will be future stars of World Superbikes, and some will be following the likes of Cal Crutchlow, Bradley Smith, and the likes up to MotoGP, and possibly challenging the likes of Marc Marquez. And of course Valentino Rossi, because he'll still be sticking around at the age of 50 years old. So we could see lots of that. So there's a lot of great talent here at the Cool FAB-Racing Championship, and we've got lots more action to bring you for the rest of today.
And we had lap records broken yesterday, didn't we? We had lap records broken five times in one class. That was our Mini GP 70 race, wasn't it? That is lap records that have been held by the likes of Danny Kent and Scott Redding as well. Scott Redding switching from MotoGP to BSB this year. So for riders to be coming along and beating those lap records just shows where they're going to be heading. And the talent we see out there, even from riders as young and small as we are seeing coming out onto the circuit now, is fantastic. The racing is so close. I really have admiration for anyone who can race these motorcycles as they do, because it is fantastic. Very brave, but also Oh, there we go.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of that. Is that the floss that we just had from Josh Bannister there? That's what it is, isn't it? All the kids are doing that, playing Fortnite and coming up with crazy new dances. Some that my hips will not be able to endure any longer. So
they don't lie, do they?
Yeah, the hips don't lie. So we will be getting the LC40 Elite class out in the next few moments, and we've been seeing some great action from this class, not only from round 3 here at Clay Pigeon, but start, obviously, at Red Lodge at round number 2 last time, where we had Johnny Garness and Mason Foster, our championship leaders, fighting it out across all 3 races to, well, take the victory. So it was Mason Foster holding off Johnny Garness in race number 1, battle down to the final turn, and that just opened the floodgates for the championship battle to continue all the way through here to Clay Pigeon. So we have Johnny Garness in the lead of the championship ahead of Mason Foster. So those two finished 3/10 apart in race number 1. Johnny Garness taking the victory over Mason Foster. Clayton Edmonds was third from race number 1, and that sees him move up the championship order. So I'll be handing you over to Chris McCarthy in a second to start off the race, but before that we have the grid orders. Johnny Garness leading them off from pole position ahead of Mason Foster. Emmanuel Brinton on bike number 93 will be starting in 3rd spot. Ronnie Harris in 4th position on the grid. Clayton Edmonds in 5th place on bike 146. We'll see if we can pick up another podium as he did in race number 2. Cameron Sewell will be next up on bike 100 in 6th position ahead of Ethan Sparks in 7th. Josh Bannister will be in 8th spot. Samuel Munson in 9th position on the grid ahead of Charlie Huntingford in 10th. Holly Harris will be starting on row number 6 in 11th position ahead of Finn and Werity in 12th spot. Keaton Payne will be on row number 7 and 13th ahead of Greg Marshall in 14th spot, and Warwick Brady rounding out the top 15, or all the runners and riders, on bike number 99 in 15th spot. So the LC Juniors Elite will be making their way around for the second warm-up lap, just making sure that the track conditions are up to standard for these junior LC40 elites as they make their way around the track towards the final turn, and will be lining up on the grid for their final race of the day. So we could see another Garness Mason Foster battle on our hands, Chris.
I think so. It's going to be very, very close, I think, but let's not speak too soon, because we have got 10-lap race ahead of us. Riders just coming up to their grid slot. 15 riders in this one, or at least it should be, unless anyone has had any problems pre-race. But we did have a couple of sighting laps then. Not too sure if that is due to just a couple of spots of rain, or if that was down to the delayed start to the race. But nevertheless, we're ready to go. Garness, Foster, Brinton, Harris, Edmonds, Sewell, the top 3 rows. The green flag flies, and Garness no problems in holding on to his lead going into turn number 2. Foster 2nd place, and those two pulling away from the field as they come through the chicane. I say pulling away from the field for now. We've still got plenty of riders in chase as they now head down to the hairpin for the first time. And Garness had a little bit of a wobble there coming on the exit. Oh, we know we've got someone down as well. 2 riders down make that. So a real shame there. We'll pick up who they are in just a second. But Garness leading the way as they go up towards the final corner and head out of the final corner down towards the start finish line.
Our hands are up. There's more riders falling down at the final turn. Lots of them are pulling into the pits. There's something on the track as the riders at turn 4 that fell off. Red flags have come out, so we have a possible restart on our hands. We'll have to keep an eye out.
I think there'll be a definite restart here.
So we saw that Mason Foster had a bit of a moment coming out of the turn 3 chicane. Johnny Garness had a bit of a moment coming out of turn 4. Some riders went down at 4, some riders went down at the final turn, but most pulled into the pits. So it looks like it was Clayton Edmonds that was one of the riders that went down at turn number 4. So not sure what the issue is. We'll find out very shortly. I don't think it's rain, because we can't see any spots on our windows, so it could be something else from the previous race that is making the track quite slippy at the moment. So
yeah, well, I think this is why there was 2 green flag laps, and the track conditions. I don't know if it's maybe spots of rain or something out on track, but we already have people finding out for us, and we will get confirmation when we can. All we will say for now is that there's going to be a definite full race restart here, because we didn't really get people completing the first lap. We had riders diving into the pits at the end of the lap, 2 down over at turn 4 and more down at the last corner, and a bit of confusion.
Yes, absolutely. It's a shame the race had to stop. The only thing we can be thankful for is that the riders that did go down are up and they're okay, and they're back to the pit, so we will be hopefully seeing them back out on track very shortly. The only person who won't enjoy the restart is Ronnie Harris. He found himself in the lead of the race after all of that, so he'll be hopefully thinking that he might be able to make sure that he can do that once again. So we're hearing that there will be a rerun, a full race restart. It has been declared a wet race, so the track conditions have changed from slicks to wet, and there will be a 15-minute delay before the restart because the riders have to make their way back to their pit box and get some wet tyres on. So it's good that we will have a restart and that everyone will be able to make their way back into the start of the race. Here at race number 3, round number 3, race number 3 for the LC40 Elite, it's Clay Pigeon, and you are listening to Cool Fab Racing, the road to MotoGP, the official partner series of the BSB Championship. If you'd like to get in touch with us today, you can get in touch on Facebook, Cool Fab Racing and Motorsport Radio. Also on Twitter, at Cool Fab Racing and at M Sport Radio. And of course, if you like to listen to all the media that Motorsport Radio produces, then you can get onto our podcasts on Spotify, on Apple and Google, and listen to the likes of Monday Motorsport and of course the Superbike Show. And if you miss that, if you found out you missed the racing here today and can't watch it live, then you can listen to it on Spotify, Google and Apple. So we've got you covered if you miss any of the action.
Well, we saw some highlights there of what actually happened on that warm-up lap, and straight away riders that were going down. Are you not listening to me?
Of course I'm listening to you.
Interested in what I'm saying. Riders that were going down were immediately calling for the red flag, and they were listened to. We had basically the situation is now that it is declared a wet race, so the riders have gone back to the paddock to get their bikes ready, and we'll get the race underway in just under 15 minutes time ETA. So we'll have another look at exactly what happened, and here we go. This was Garnes coming in, leading the way, and here came a couple of more riders towards the back, and there you can see exactly the same incident, and it was pretty clear to see, I think, from that point that the track was just not fit for the setups that the riders had on, dry setups of course. So we're going to go to wet setups. It is a wet race, which means you have to be on the wet tyre, but that is the situation. We've got a bit of time to talk between ourselves, and I'm going to leave you to it in that case. I'm just going to go, and I'll be back in about 10 minutes.
So I've got to talk for the next 10 minutes. That's
to yourself.
Fine. Yeah, so I can do that myself if you want to nip away, Chris. Please don't leave me, unfortunately.
I won't do that.
So we've got great racing action here at Clay Pigeons, a track that you've raced on, not in bikes but on go-karts. So it has been a big event for a lot of riders and of course racing drivers. So we found out the likes of Jenson Button, Formula 1 World Champion, 2009 World Champion, started his career at this very circuit. So I'm not sure what year that might have been, but back in the 80s, 90s, and of course went on to become the 2009 Formula 1 World Champion. So it's a track that does produce a lot of talented drivers and of course in this case riders.
Yeah, well, I think anyone, when you're racing in the top championships like Cool Fab, you're going to end, it's going to be on the calendar and you're going to face it at some point. But of course, in the case of Jenson Button, he actually started here. But we'll have I think, while we've got some time on our hands, why don't we have a little talk of what we've seen today throughout the different classes, because we've seen some pretty exciting racing all round. I think we'll start off with sidecars, shall we?
Yes, absolutely. There was a bit of an incident on lap number 1 when we had John Hosker and Paul Quilters Jr. coming together at the turn 3 chicane. But it was, once again, Mick Williams taking his 7th win of the season and chased hard by Paul Coulters, Jack Coulters, and Paul Coulters Jr. was the one that got tangled up there with John Hosker. So the sidecars giving us plenty of hard racing through the field, and as you can see there, John Hosker looking. Yeah, unfortunately, John Hosker and his partner couldn't get back in the race. But then after that, we had race number 3 from the AC40 rookies, Chris, and once again it was Archie Gibbs who commanded that race.
Yep, they are not the AC40 rookies. That's Mick Williams, isn't it? Giving John Hosker a bit of a push. But yeah, we've seen all the racing so far for AC40 rookies. We'll have a look at them in just a second. Good racing from AC40 rookies as well, particularly between some of the riders battling for the championship.
Absolutely. Ollie Sims and Blake Wilson charged hard but couldn't quite make any movements on Archie Gibbs. So Archie Gibbs eventually won the race by 5 seconds ahead of the likes of Sims, Wilson, Fitchett and Holt. So that was running at the top 5. And Gibbs was in a commanding position there. So we had the mini GP70s on after that, and it was Evan Belford who soaked up all of the pressure from the riders behind. I say soaked up the pressure. He got into the lead of the race and just shot off at the front to leave the rest to battle out. So as we can see, Bailey Stewart Campbell, James Cook, Eddie O'Shea, Ollie Walker giving us great racing action, not only today but throughout the entire race weekend. Some hard passes, some close racing, and of course some great results coming from some of the riders that hadn't been featuring at the top of the field so far this season.
Yeah, what we saw in both races is obviously Belford getting away. Stuart Campbell fought very hard to get into second place and did very well to hold off the likes of Cook and O'Shea, as well as Walker as well, and it was some brilliant racing between the 4 of them. We saw a little bit earlier on. Eventually Cook was able to nip by and get into second place, but it was a little bit too late. Belford had a little bit too much of a lead for him to go and catch Belford down. Whether he'd done that anyway is questionable, because Belford was setting the fastest laps of the race, wasn't he? And Evan Belford, it was just the starts. You know, sometimes they say you can never win it at the start, but you can certainly put yourself in a very good position to do so, and that is what Evan Belford did. But I'd say we've got, as the season's going on, we've got even more people that are coming into this fight for race wins. I think that's what we're seeing, isn't it? As riders growing confidence, the lead group is going to probably just extend.
Absolutely. You saw the likes of Ollie Sims and Billy Stewart Campbell grow in stature over the previous couple of rounds.
Yes.
And of course it was the AC40 Pros just after that, and it was once again Mason Foster who took the race win, but he didn't have it all his own way, as you had Clayton Edmonds and Blake Wilson giving us a great battle throughout the entire field. So there was a 4-way scrap for the win, and Munson and Sparks were looking good. Lots of hard passes into turn number 2, clean passes as well, but it was Foster that managed to hold them on just towards the end of that race.
Yes, just about able to do so, and 4 for the lead. It was all the way to the flag, and a brilliant race from the AC40 Pros. Very entertaining to watch, very close between the lead and we'll talk a little bit about Pit Bikes 140 and Moto Team next, shall we? Because that was arguably the most exciting race we've seen of the afternoon.
It was definitely the most chaotic race of the whole weekend so far. There was lots of hard passes, clean passes for most of it, and there was a lot of back markers for the top guys to get round. So 30 bikes on track. Matthew Balsover making some great moves. Of course, so was William Lathrop, Ben Bailey, Harvey Claridge, and you had Leo Corfield, who was yesterday's race winner, tagging on to the back as well. But unfortunately, it was a bit of an incident between Ben Bailey and Lathrop that brought out the red flag when Ben Bailey tied the back of Lathrop, and Claridge had to run by him. So turn number 4 seems to be an incident corner, and fingers crossed that they were all okay as well. So it was a tough battle, great race to watch, terrifying to be part of, I can imagine.
Yeah, thankfully both riders walked away from that incident we saw towards the end of the race. It was a real shame for the number 76 of Jamie King that Jamie King did actually have to exit the race early due to some sort of issue, but Bailey just attempted to make a move, whether it was trying to make a move or just defending, just seemed to get the braking a little bit wrong and tagged the back of the leader. Lathrop and was down on the floor, unfortunately, but that was the end of that. We're getting ready still for the Junior LC40 Elite race number 3, and hopefully we're going to see some very good racing. Oh, we've got, in fact, we are going to have to leave our reviews there because we have got bikes coming back out onto the track now. So we're going to be getting ready for the next race. This is live coverage then of Road to MotoGP, Cool Fab Racing, British Mini Bikes Championship, round 3 at Clay Pigeon, after a bit of a delay due to changing conditions where we've gone from dry to wet. This is going to be a wet race for the Junior LC40 Elite race number 3. After a bit of a delay to get setups changed, we are now back on to the grid and getting ready to go racing. Whether you're listening to us or watching us on coolfabracing.com, on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube or Twitch, thanks for being with us. Or if you're even listening to us on motorsport.radio, all coverage is being brought to you this weekend by motorsport.media. We are making history by bringing live pictures to you of the Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship. Yes, myself, absolutely. Chris McCarthy and Liam Hodgins, who was about to cut over me there, are bringing you the commentary this weekend. And now Liam Hodgins is going to talk us through the grid for the race.
Yes, I thought you were about to stop there, but just before I do that, a quick shout out to Owen Mellor, who came up to the commentary box there. He just wants to thank his sponsors and thank everyone for great racing this weekend. So it's good to hear that from Owen Mellor. So the Junior LC40 Elites make their way round to the grid. It's Johnny Garness leading off Mason Foster, Emmanuel Brinton in 3rd, Ronnie Harris in 4th, Clayton Edmonds in 5th spot. It will be Cameron and Sewell in 6th spot ahead of Ethan Sparks, Josh Bannister in 8th, Samuel Munson 9th, Charlie Huntingford in 10th, Holly Harris will be starting 11th, Finn Winnity will be in 12th spot ahead of Keaton Payne, Greg Marshall in 14th, and Warwick Brady will be starting in 15th spot. So Chris, the one thing I want to know, has anyone gone for slick tyres out there? So we could maybe see a change in some riders going for wets, maybe some for slicks.
I believe it was declared a wet race, so they have to all go on the wets. If I hear anything else, I'll let you know, but that is certainly what the delay was intended for. Okay, Garness and Foster, your front row. We're off for Wayne Racing. Garness has got a good start. I had to pause before I said that there because it looked as if for a moment that Foster was going